It'll come.
There it is.
It's
All right, we're
live.
live.
It's live.
Boom. All right. Hello, welcome to Eat Shit Sleep Pod. All right, sweet. You have your host here, Gio, co-host Stevie B,
Hi, everyone.
and then longtime guest of the pod, Jamie.
Yep.
Casey.
It's been a little while.
And then we have some special guests that are brought in from Jamie. You'll hear all about how they did that. Hayley
Hi.
and Alan.
Hello, world.
Nice. All right, so I always do this, but I don't have the topics in front of me. So Steve will start.
Well, yeah, okay, I'll start it, but just real quick for the listeners, because we're obviously doing this via Hangouts, and we're not all in the same place. Where are you two calling in from?
Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that the two involves us. Yeah, we're the
Yes,
news.
That
Yeah.
is correct.
Asheville.
yeah, I know where Jamie and Gio live. I wasn't sure where you two were calling in from exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
calling in from the hood, and I
North
apologize for
Carolina.
Someday we'll get down there and do an episode, but I
Yeah.
guess Gio, I know we wanted to start it off because obviously we haven't met either of you, and you're on the show as actors for How to Love Your Demon. So maybe you could just explain, tell us a little bit about yourself. It could be your interest, but also like obviously you're actors. What kind of got you into that?
Mm-hmm.
The origin story. Sure.
Yes, the origin story piece
Yeah.
of the.
Juan's
I don't know
not
if we
here.
need
He usually
another
does
origin
that.
story. Wait, have you guys, before we get started, have you guys seen Deadpool yet? Because I don't want to say anything.
No.
Tomorrow
Okay.
morning.
All right.
Did you see it already?
Yeah, I saw it last night.
Jeez, man, hardcore. I read the original script. I hated the script, but I hear the movie's pretty good. So
It's pretty good.
I'll go see it this week.
Flashbacks and origin stories.
Perfect.
Well, let's hear yours.
So I'm originally from Maryland. I ended up down here in North Carolina. My
Yeah,
sister
Natty
was from
Bows.
here. Yeah. Right outside of Baltimore, and I was like, I gotta get out of here in this traffic. So moved down to North Carolina. I've been doing theater really since high school. Started doing like musicals. Oklahoma was my door into this world.
Nice.
But yeah, I've been doing that pretty much ever since. I went to school down in Virginia for acting. It's Shenandoah Conservatory, just a small little music conservatory, music and dance and theater. Yeah, I ended up down here.
Why Asheville?
My sister went down here. She's down here for adventure sports management because there's like all kind of outdoor activities down here. And I was working in Baltimore and came down to visit and just sort of stayed ever since. I've been here for about 2 years now.
It has its way of doing that. That's how I ended up there. For the listeners, I think I mentioned it before, but I was there for about 12 years.
Yeah, there's all kinds of theories from spiritual vortexes to, crystal mountains that
It's
draw
the
you
quartz, right?
It's the quartz.
I'm
It's
pretty
quartz.
sure there's like mountains. We're nestled between two mountains that have quartz, and it's just
Now you just
lots
smoke
of
too much
energy.
too much sage, and you just
Too much sage.
right.
Yeah,
You
it's
just
like I
get
can't
too
drive. I gotta
stoned and
stay.
You can't leave. You're just like, I guess another night. I don't know.
Oh man, that sounds awful. I don't know how you handle it.
Terrible.
Alan, Baltimore is my like spiritual second city. I fucking love that place.
Yeah, I worked at this Greek restaurant run by this just like first generation Greek family, and best crab cakes I've ever had in the city.
I'm a personal fan of pit beef sandwiches and Natty
Yeah.
Bows. You can just feed me that forever, and I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Gio and a mutual friend of ours took a road trip down to Asheville last April. And on the way, at the second we crossed the Maryland state line for the split second, Gio made us stop to get Natty Bows. We had to take this side route into some fucking shopping center, liquor store to get him Natty Bows.
I'm like, Jamie, we're in Maryland for like 2 minutes.
Literally,
Will you
like 2
fucking
minutes.
stop.
I honestly don't think I've ever drank a Natty Boh. Is it like it's like PBR, right?
It's like PBR light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey,
It's
PBR,
like
add a
seltzer
little
flavored
more
beer
water.
or beer flavored seltzer.
Yeah.
Mm.
We drank it all weekend. We were in Nashville for a weekend. We drank it all weekend.
You were
I
in
mean, that's-
Nashville and you drank Natty
I know.
Boh?
Yeah, right? That's what I kept saying, but we had it in our Airbnb.
Ugh.
Gio is very persuasive. I guess.
Well, he
Well,
bought
I
like
mean,
a case. He bought like a 48 pack. I think he bought
two
two.
Oh my
cases.
gosh.
I bought 2 cases.
Man, it's weird. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, and it was shocking to move here where you can just like buy beer in a gas station or a
Right.
grocery store. Like
Oh,
there were
man.
specific, it was a beer distributor, and it was like super
That
awkward.
is-
They had to carry it out to your car. There's like laws like I legally could not carry beer in each hand. Like weird.
It's-
Commonwealth, strange.
So Steve and I went to Binghamton, and we would drive through Pennsylvania like the whole way through, and constantly like I would go up there in the summer, and just one of the times that we did that, we never really stopped in Pennsylvania, but like this time we left late from the city, and we're going over to my friend, like he has like a frat house there, but like he's not like.
But like a nice frat house.
What?
Yeah, you
No,
know, the
no.
classy kind, you know, with the
It is
chandeliers.
classy. Steve, you live there. It is classy.
Wait, which frat house?
The White House.
Oh, my frat house.
The
Yeah.
White House.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
owned a frat house?
No, it's not his.
It's
not
not really a
his.
frat house. It's actually just a house that 5 people can live in. We were all fraternity brothers, but we never hosted parties. So it was actually really just a
So
house.
you failed at being a frat, basically.
No,
Or
it was a
we
frat.
succeeded in having a clean frat house, is how I choose to look at it.
Gotcha.
It was a frat house. You guys had like 2 tables with letters downstairs, and you had all this shit. Like it was a frat house.
I built that table, all right?
But anyway, we
Doesn't
go
have
up
a
there,
frat house.
and we go there. We're leaving the city. We leave at like 7, and we're like, "Fuck, we're not gonna make it in time because in Binghamton they stopped selling you beer at like 1 a.m. So whatever we were doing, we weren't gonna make it in time to do the 1 a.m. So my grand idea, like we drive through Scranton. So I was like, Scranton has a fucking Walmart.
Dude, that's my stomping grounds.
Oh, that's where you're from?
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. We used to go to Scranton for the ice cream and the casino.
Oh,
Casino.
Yeah.
Well, I got you beat. Where I went to when we moved to Kentucky. I'm from California originally, but we moved to Kentucky when I was in high school. To rural Kentucky, you can't even buy alcohol. It's still illegal to this day. There, dry. All the counties. The closest place to buy it is an hour and a half away.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does that mean no one drinks or everyone goes and
there's
buys a lot
bootleggers.
beforehand?
There's in the middle of the town, which is like 2,000 people, really tiny town. Literally in the middle of the town, there's a guy who has a trailer, and he built his driveway out. It's literally a drive-through. So you pull around behind his double wide, and there would be a line of cars down the street on the weekends, and you would just pull around, and he would come out the back of his trailer and be like, "What do you want?" He would charge you, $12. He'd charge you New York City prices for a 6-pack of Bud Light.
This is Kentucky, like the birthplace of fucking bourbon. You guys can't get it?
No, you can't. You
That's
can't.
fucking
It's
bullshit.
To this day. To this day.
You just have to know a guy. That reminds me of like going on really trashy vacations to Ocean City, Maryland, and people would like
Hey.
walk to Delaware. It's disgusting.
No,
Sorry.
it is. It's awful.
But people would walk to Delaware to buy a pack of cigarettes because it was like $2 cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah. So what about Hayley? What's your acting origin story?
Well, it's weird because I love it so much now, but I came into it like somewhat reluctantly. Like this is like it took me like 7 years to get a 2-year degree, and it got down to like the wire, and I had taken all like writing was my focus, and I had taken all the creative writing courses that I could, and I had to take some class, so I took acting 1 like in the last thing, and it was weird. Like I even like 2 weeks into it, I was like, I'm just like not funny, and like everyone in this class is really outgoing and really personable, and I get super anxious every time I walk into the room. But my teacher was really awesome. The professor was really cool and like convinced me to stay into it. And then further, at the end of the semester, asked if I would audition for the role of Hamlet as Hamlet, which was interesting because for one, I didn't think I could do it, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. But
Awesome.
I did the audition, and once you say yes to something, I was like, well, I guess I'm all in now. And since then, like I kind of I don't want to sound like I'm just rolling by day to day, but I sort of am. Like at the performance of Hamlet, this teacher, this other guy in town who ran like a screen artist, well, the screen artist co-op, came up to me and was like, hey, I think you'd be really good on film. I want you to come out to my studio. And then I met him, and I was like, yeah, this is awesome. And then was taking classes there for a while and got a commercial agent out of Atlanta. And at that time, it seemed like, yes, this is everything I ever wanted. This is great. And then, like, I was being put up for roles like hot girl number 2. And it's like,
in commercial.
oh,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it was like, man, like the
I should be number 1, hot girl number 1.
No, but it's like all these like non-speaking roles where like you just, I mean, you guys have probably seen recently like fem script intros. It's like,
Yeah,
like all those roles, and you're like, oh, okay, I could totally do this. Yeah.
And
Like,
that was
so
all
from there.
that was in, where was that? That was in Asheville?
Well, yeah, but the agent was out of Atlanta. And I was doing that for a little while, but man, like I feel like the breaking point was when I drove out to Charlotte to do a NASCAR commercial audition, and everyone's like, all right, just like the lady came out and she's like, so just do your normal cheerleading moves, you know, like do your moves.
Normal ones, your
like,
normal ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to say like, Dale, he's our guy, and like do this thing, and I just got in there and was like, I'm not getting this, like there is no way this is happening, so just did my own thing, but then you know, down the line got dropped, and now just I'm glad all that happened because it's reaffirming. It's interesting how you think you want a thing and that there's this certain path, but it wasn't really the case. It was an interesting learning process, but now I'm more so just doing projects I give a shit about, you know.
Yeah.
So you're agentless now, both of you?
Agentless, yeah. Well, I am.
We gotta change that.
Maybe.
Jamie,
So this-
start your business?
This is actually a sales pitch. I'm becoming an agent, and I need
All
some
right, there you
clients.
go.
Sorry,
I
it's right
told
here
you
on air.
myself.
Yeah, that's my something. I'm gonna be an agent, find people
Hey,
to be in
good.
your movies.
That's hey.
Hey.
That's
We can use
we
that.
need that person. Find us work. Find us.
Yeah.
all.
Do you do voice work? I'm looking to get some people on YoJC.
They've already been sent to the
I love
the
that
invites.
script.
The audition. Yeah.
See, you guys
Thanks,
don't even
guys.
need me.
Well, the crazy thing, Haley, is instead of like driving down to Charlotte and being like a NASCAR girl, like with transplanting, this web series that's like Asheville based, just all Asheville people, and now, I mean, you're kind of a face of something. People were like,
Wow. How
like
that
on the front
happened, I don't
of
fucking
newspapers
know.
and yeah.
Wait, so what's transplanting?
So it's about well, you can just
No, no, please.
Alan's
Okay,
been
from
in
an
it too.
outsider's perspective.
You've been in an episode. You've been in 2 episodes, right, Alan?
Yeah. It's about a girl that moves down from New York City. Is like, I gotta get out of here. Gotta get to these
Which is just
magical
crazy
mountains.
talk. Just
right?
crazy
It's
talk.
it's nuts. But for like a slower pace of life, and it's about her transplanting to Asheville because so many people now are coming from other places, like because Asheville has become such a destination for art, for beer, for music. All these people are coming, and so now there's this group of young artists that are here. And well, I don't know how you got involved, Haley, but now it's been embraced by the town. It's sort of a loving send up.
It's a great series.
In the
How do we watch it? Like, where do we get it?
You can go to transplantingseries.com. The video is right on the homepage, and when you click play and hover your mouse over it, thinking I'm going to skip through until I find Hayley, you press nothing because she's in the first second. You're like, oh, she is literally
Man,
the
I should
star.
hire you. You're good at
She
this.
is literally the face of the series.
I posted my favorite episode to the How to Love Your Demon Facebook page, which was the one where Alan is lamenting the lack of love for my favorite novel and movie ever. Not movie ever, but
We gotta chat with those Facebook people because I feel like everything that you post on How to Love Your Demon I don't see at all, and I'm on Facebook a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very
It's like fucking
shitty algorithm.
Instead, I see like spoilers for movies that I don't want to see.
Very shitty algorithm.
Damn you, algorithm.
It's more like I know someone that could pay for this, and then other people that pay for this.
It's a great series, though. So you guys are gearing up for season 2, right?
Yeah, that's going to be, we're starting shooting in April, early April.
How long did it take you guys to shoot the first season? You guys just do it all in one?
We did it in 8 days.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 8 days, except for the holiday special. That came later.
You have a holiday special?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's like a British show. I love it.
That's a true series right there. I already love it.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen it.
You got to watch. It's great. It's fantastic.
I will. I'm in it.
I have it open the second this podcast ends. Actually, it's been great talking to you all, but I'm going to go watch this now.
Yeah, see you later.
There's a special place in my heart for the holiday special because I don't know, it just hits home because, I mean, the bottom line is, like, the main characters can't afford to go home to their family, so they throw, like an orphan Christmas, but it's pretty fun.
And it's so accurate about how weird Asheville is. Like, that's the beauty of it. Like, it captures so well the oddity of that city.
Yeah. So many of those things, like the yoni steaming.
That's the best. Yeah.
Oh,
Who writes it? I feel awful. But
Leah.
Who?
Leah.
Leah. I don't know.
Yeah, so Leah writes all of the episodes, and man, that was a big. I noticed a big difference, and it's interesting because after meeting Jamie, I feel like it's now I can't really say it anymore, but previously, it's just like all of the film projects I would work on were written by guys, and it's just a little bit different when a guy is writing a female role.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it was awesome to have a female writing a female role. But to that, like, Jamie, you did a really good job in this last film of, like, making a real person and not, like, this weird standard that I could never live up to, or, like, someone who could never, well, I mean, it is a demon. But, you know, like someone that can never exist in real life.
If you apply yourself, I think you could get there.
Yeah. It's hard. You always worry about it. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I guess I want to interject. We've never on the pod really gone into the specifics of what How to Love Your Demon is. I don't think we've ever even said the name of it.
We haven't.
We were just like, oh, our friend Jamie is like working on this thing, and we've never really like said anything. So guys, all of you, how did you find the script? What is it like? Let's start to dive into that.
Wait, before that, I'm just curious. If you guys could just describe the movie before we even say like how you got into it, just describe the movie because we haven't told our listeners like what this is.
I want to hear them do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
A love story. No, well, less of a love story, more like a keeping love alive. What's up, Jay?
Oh, someone just showed up to the party.
This is our other co-host Juan, also editor of How to Love Your Demon.
Oh, hey Juan.
Juan.
Hello.
Batman.
This is always fun because I always, as an editor, spend hours looking at people and they'll never know I exist. Now is the first time that it's the opposite.
We appreciate all that time.
Man, I thought about that. I got a little bit self-conscious thinking like, oh man, someone had to like really sit there and like look real close at all these movements.
Speaking of
do a lot of weird
all the
things.
bad takes,
Thank you
guys
for
had
making it
so.
So speaking about how you're behind the scenes, Juan, we're gonna go back to how they're describing the movie.
Yeah, let's hear. Alan was saying his description of the movie.
Well, it's definitely it's a relationship about two people, about two people's relationship. That's what
I would second that. It's definitely about a relationship. It's just, it's a funny. Oh God, it's hard finding the words.
Funny is one of them.
Funny is definitely one of them. It's symbolic in ways. It's no, it's good. I think it's I'll be bold here and say it's an accurate portrayal of a relationship.
A little dramatized.
When I was talking to Greg first about it, he was working DP on a project with me like the month before, and he was like, "Hey, here's a script that my friend wrote," and I don't remember if he said geeky or nerdy. There's a big difference, but it's just like it's a sort of a geeky love story, or a nerdy love story.
Greg's our director of photography. He and I go way back. I've known him for 15 years now. We worked at the Fine Arts Theater in Nashville, and I've been wanting to work with him. We actually started probably 3 projects in the past to work on, and Greg is definitely an old school. I remember we were going to mount this short film, probably a decade ago, which was also ironically around Jesus. We'll talk about our animated project, but I have a thing about Jesus apparently. But he wanted to shoot it on film, and so I was like, Greg, I don't know. Digital cinema was just starting to kind of really become a thing, and I think the Canon XL1 had just come out. It was like the first kind of cheaper consumer video camera that was professional level. And I was like, I don't know, Greg. And so we priced out this short film, and it was going to cost like $50,000 to shoot it on film, and the whole thing just died because we couldn't afford to do it. But so finally, we got him. We got Greg, and he did a fantastic job. But, it's about a relationship. So I was married for 10 years, so it's about I'm no longer married, hence the demonic side of the whole thing. But, it was I'm a fan of Buffy. I think Buffy's probably pretty much the greatest thing ever written, and has influenced everything in some form or fashion that I've written since. But what I loved so much about Buffy that I think he was so genius at doing was taking something like high school. And if you look at high school, when you're in that age, and he's talked about this a lot, Joss Whedon, where he's like, when you're a teenager in high school, everything feels like the end of the world. And so we took that concept and we literally made it the end of the world. So there's this great juxtaposition of like the mundane with the supernatural that really pulls at the subtext of what's being talked about. And
I thought it was like a good way of just like grounding supernatural themes. Like just take it, and instead of just like every time you see something like a genre movie, they always go into like these super extremes. But like you're like, no, we're gonna do this normal, and then that just happens to be there. That just happens to be accepted. That's just part of it.
Yeah.
Which makes it interesting. It's like a new way of approaching it.
Yeah, obviously Buffy didn't do that so much, but even in Buffy though, in the world you had it was. Like, you always wondered, they never really went outside of the group much. Like, you wondered what the people in the town thought of the fact that there were vampires and the end of the world happening around their town, but they never really addressed it often. Every now and then, you would kind of bleed out into that world, but it always seemed kind of accepted. Like, people were like, yeah, there's demons running around. No big deal. And I loved that. And then there was a string of indie films that came out, I don't know, 5-6 years ago. There was Monsters, which is brilliant, which is Gareth Edwards, who's directing Rogue One. Right? Did I get that right?
No? Yes, Gareth Edwards. Yeah.
All right. So, and that's a love story about a guy who gets sent down to Latin America after these giant, basically kaiju-type alien monsters have risen out and destroyed the world. He gets hired to go down to Latin America to escort this woman back to the States. And on the way, he falls in love with her. But you don't even really see the monsters. Nobody really cares. It's this love story about these two people that happens to be set on the backdrop of this thing. So I've always been fascinated by that, and I thought it was a good way to say relationships are tough, like especially when you start out. You don't really know about a person until you live with them. It's like you can have fun dating and hanging out and getting to know each other, but when you live with somebody, the real shit comes out, and you're like, oh, what did I just get into? And so I thought a fun way would be like, well, guess what? Surprise, your girlfriend's a demon, and there's a whole big other story that goes behind them, but and they mention it in the film, this event that happens in the past that I'm actually writing as a feature. But,
nice.
But that was the idea that how do you cope with that? Like, and so Alan's character is a guy who really wants to hold it together. Through thick or thin, I'll make this work. And Hayley's character is like, I don't know. I don't think we're gonna work out here. We're not very compatible. So it's fun.
So many of their problems aren't that she's a demon. It's just like normal relationship problems, like you're wearing your shoes in the house. Not like you are a supernatural being.
That was one of the things I really liked. Is obviously it starts and Hayley, you've got a bit of excessive makeup on your face, which was hilarious. But like, I'm like, okay, are they gonna fight about this? No, not really. It's gonna be about shoes. It's gonna be just about normal couple stuff, and then oh yeah, there was this other thing, but it's not the primary concern.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, Jamie, what you were speaking to with Buffy, like, in a sense, it's that suspension of disbelief. Like, in a world where there's all these crazy vampires and demons, like, no one gives a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're just, like, going about their daily life. And, like, really, that, in a sense, that's what's happening in relationships, because, like, to marry someone is crazy. And, like, you know, you have this belief that the person is someone, you know, like, you have this idea in your head, and that they have this person, and you hold that vision.
Yeah. It doesn't always work out, and sometimes it does. You know, it's that's the risk. That's the scary part of it. That's the horror, if you will, in the whole thing.
Is it a comedy? It's a horror film? It's a horror/comedy?
I mean, I think you would only say it's horror in that there's a lot of blood in it, but it's not a horror.
Yeah.
But
I think it's a rom-com.
Yeah.
No!
It's a post-apocalyptic rom-com.
Okay.
Wait, what was the apocalypse?
Hayley.
No!
When did the apocalypse happen?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I just assume there's demons running around. There's a little bit of apocalypse somewhere.
No,
it's
Not
cool.
during apocalypse.
Yeah, exactly.
During the apocalypse. The personal apocalypse.
Your relationship counselor, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy deserved it. I mean, that's my opinion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
So
Hayley and Alan just saw their first view of the cut like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
So
still
what-
rough. It's still being worked
what
on,
did-
but
What did you guys think?
I love it.
It's
I
crazy.
completely love it. I
think it's fantastic. It's crazy to see like the things, because everything, you know, nothing's actually shot in order, but you always forget that when you're watching a movie. You're like, oh, this entire storyline is going through here. You're like, oh, I remember when we were doing that, and like trying to get this shot. Like, oh yeah, that's when we lost the light that day.
Oh my God. Woo!
How long was
real.
your shoot? How long was the shoot?
2 days, 9 hours, 8 hours a day.
well, probably all in all, we were there closer to 13 or 14. I think we had like 6 a.m. call, and we were wrapping by 6, so 12, 13 hours.
Yeah, it felt like a 12-hour day, which is it's notably longer when you have fake blood all down your throat and your hair has become like 2 bloody dreadlocks that are just stuck to your neck.
Were you like that all day? Like, you know, when everybody's eating lunch, are you just eating lunch with blood on your face?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep.
She was pretty sticky. That stuff was sticky too.
Yeah.
So our blood guy, the fabulous Blake Myers. He was introduced to me by Shane, my producer. Shane is he's an amazing creative guy down there in Asheville. Everybody was pretty much from Asheville except for myself, which formerly was. I came down from New York, but and then Blake came up from Atlanta. Blake works on The Walking Dead, and so he was introduced to me, and I sent him the script, and he came up. He literally wrapped the season finale of The Walking Dead, this current season. Oh, New York! Let's let the.
Let's see if we can guess who that is.
It's Joe's neighborhood. I'm thinking he muted. Yeah.
It's always
It's not me, so you won't be hearing it double.
Blake came up literally from wrapping. I believe he had wrapped the season finale of The Walking Dead this current season and drove up that night from Atlanta the night before we shot. He brought a gallon. I'm probably not supposed to say this. It might get him in trouble, but the blood that we used is the blood used on The Walking Dead. So he wiped a couple jugs of that and brought it up. And
our podcast is not that sophisticated. We can't cut shit out, so.
Yeah. We have it. But tell us about Blake, guys. Was he not a character?
Blake was the best. I mean, he has the perfect personality for doing that. Like, like doing some acting and modeling, I've become more comfortable with people in my personal space, but I felt like completely comfortable with him, like sticking his finger like all around my mouth, like getting blood, just like weird things that would normally be super uncomfortable just like weren't. He was just really funny and really easy to hang out with. And
yeah, just exactly the kind of guy you want with gallons of blood.
And we literally had gallons. I had been talking to him on the phone, and not what I had this image in my head because he's just the nicest, sweetest guy, and he was so enthusiastic. I talked to him, I think, 3 times on the phone before we got down there. And then when I walked up in onto set that first day and met him face to face, he's like 6'4", like Harley biker dude with mutton chops. I was just like, this is not the guy I expected. Like, this guy looked, if you were to meet him in a dark alley, you'd be a little scared, but he was just the nicest, sweetest guy you'd ever meet. So much fun to work with. And he's won some awards. I think he's got some stuff. I think he's got something in South by this year. I may be wrong, but he posted something about South by the other day. But,
he's really good at what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, man, he was, like, on point. Any moment, like, constantly. I feel like every time the camera broke, he would, like, come up and, like, do a check, like, do a little spray, do a little touch-up, this, that, and that, and just, man, yeah, you got to be looking for different things when you're a blood guy.
Yeah. Well, continuity is an issue.
Yeah. Kept having to squirt with, like, water to get, because it's, like, corn syrup based, right? And so every couple shots, you'd have to come with, like, a spray bottle and squirt it so it would start to drip again and, like, look still fresh and wet.
Mm-hmm.
It was a mess.
Yeah, there were 2 different kinds of blood. One was, like, super shitty and, like, really sticky and clumpy. And the other one tastes like chocolate syrup. It was chocolate syrup based. So, like, that wasn't really the worst.
So when you're licking your fingers in the movie, you're actually just doing it because the blood tasted delicious.
No,
she didn't like it. You didn't like it putting it because we shot it in her mouth for a couple. In the outtakes reel I put on Facebook, there's one where we like filled her mouth with it, and it didn't sound like it tasted very good. We stopped doing that after a while because it looked like you were enjoying it.
I think, yeah, I'm really glad you were able to adjust to that because we tried really hard to, like, you're like, well, you just, like, ate a person, like, your teeth are going to be bloody, but, like, every time I would, like, try to just, like, swallow or, like, readjust, my teeth would just, like, come clean.
Yeah.
And they're like, this looks like a Colgate commercial. But then everyone just, like, abandoned that, like, all right, it's not going to happen. There's not going to be blood on the teeth. We're just going to let that go.
No, it played well.
Which you were probably a little thankful for.
Yeah, I was like, thank God. Because, yeah, if we were going to do it, we had to shoot it quick because it like, had this numbing effect. So it was kind of like, you know, like I could normally do weird things with my mouth if I'm acting. I have to be super conscious of my mouth. But, like, especially with blood in it, it's just like, I'm just going to be weird if this has to happen. And I feel like you guys caught on to that pretty quickly and just kind of ditched it.
So did you guys do any? So since the characters are kind of like different, I mean, one being a half demon and the other one being the boyfriend of a half demon, did you guys like have to like kind of get into this different sort of mentality when you prepared for the role, or how did you like approach that?
Sure. And a lot of that, it's that part of a relationship that you don't want to be in, that you're just like fighting all the time, and I've definitely. For most relationships, it's not that, but I've definitely been in that situation where you're just like picking at each other, and it's not a fun place to live. That's just the shitty part of a relationship. But yeah, I had to get back into that. Like,
man, I thought our relationship was working. I didn't know this was a thing. God, Alan, Jesus. I mean. My inspiration, it was like maybe a little bit scary how easy it was to relate to the role. Like, I don't know, but I don't know, I could easily relate to that. I mean, not killing people, not like eating people and being like, sorry.
Maybe wanting to.
Maybe wanting to, but also just, you know, when you're in a solid relationship, you inevitably show parts of yourself that maybe you weren't even aware of yourself. So when that comes out, you know, like the core was like Jenny's still a person. Still a person with real shit. And it was, I don't know, it was really easy to relate to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's talking a little bit about when you were in the role, but I'm curious, when you read the script, what did you think of it? Well, and also how'd you hear about it? I know Alan mentioned it a bit, but how'd you hear about? Oh, we're looking for someone to play a half demon girlfriend who just killed someone.
Jamie reached out to me, and the thing that I never told you was that previously I had started to get into astrology, and this podcast I was listening to, sometimes she'll say super specific shit that I'm just like, this can't be real. So I'll write it down, and it was down to you're gonna get an interesting offer at 5:02 p.m. and it's really gonna pan out. It's gonna be a good thing. So go all in. And sure as shit, well, it was 4:47 or something, and I got this message from a person that I didn't know, and I was like, whoa, this is weird. But then when he sent the script, really it was the writing that I was attracted to. I was like, these characters feel like real people, and it felt really balanced. I saw Steve's side, I saw Jenny's side. It was good writing. And, yeah, I remember going to that audition and just feeling very different than I'd felt before. Because actually, Jamie, how did you even find out that I existed?
Well,
obviously he watched Transplants, which
no, I didn't know about it at the time, to be honest. It was Shane. Shane had heard of you. I don't know. You didn't know Shane, though, I don't think personally.
No.
He had heard of your work, and so Shane produced my last short film we did in 2010 there in Nashville, Men of Persuasion, that Paul Chattel directed, and Shane knows everybody in town. He's also from Atlanta, so he has a wide net, and he's always the first person to ask who should I get, and your name came up, and Alan's name came up through Greg. Alan, are you frozen? Did we lose Alan?
No, he's just nodding his head.
Listening very
gotcha. I saw this picture of him with his grin. And then, we did an open call through one of the acting schools there in Asheville, which was a fascinating experience. I love that. I both love and dread that process. But that's, yeah, so.
Yeah, so, that audition process was it was interesting for me because I hadn't done that sort of audition in a long time. And I just remember, I was the first person to get there, and there was, the little cold, awkward chairs lined out, and, you see, then, people were filing in and sitting there, and every other girl had, their perfectly laminated resume, and I felt like a dumbass because I didn't even bring a resume, and then, later had to explain that, and I felt so awkward, and, was taken back to those like the Dale Earnhardt audition where no way in hell I'm not fit for this isn't gonna work, but then everyone the three girls that were beside me were passing the script back and forth, and I was like, shit, I don't know if I remembered all the lines, but then remembered wait a minute, how about I just don't be weird? Yeah. I was first thing, my hands are ice cold. I know as soon as I walk in there, I'm going to shake someone's hands. How about start being a real human, get some blood flowing, and just stay present, don't be weird, just be you.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I really did that, because previously I was always when you go into an audition, you're expected to be the character, but kind of taking your side of it, Jamie. It's you're not just looking for someone to recite all the lines you wrote, but to just not be weird.
Yeah.
So that's such a life hack when I realized don't be weird.
No, it's true. And you know what? When I'm back down in Nashville, we'll have to all hang out, drink beers, and watch. I have all the audition videos, and you guys will get a really good laugh at the weird people that show up. It's a hard process because nobody does good cold read. Cold reading has got to be one of the hardest things. And I'm no actor. I'm no actor, but I've done enough. I haven't done a lot of casting sessions, but I've seen enough of them and watched a lot of them online. But even the George Clooney's and the professionals give shitty cold reads. It's a hard thing to do, and you're trying to convey so much in that short. We give you 5 minutes to make an impression. It's but for me, what I love about it is I immediately, after you guys would read and start leaving, I was turning to Greg and turning to Shane and being like, I have to rewrite this thing. Like, because you start hearing, like, the scripts that you guys got in the beginning was very different than what we shot.
Sure, that was pre-therapist.
Mm-hmm. The therapist originally was alive, and he had a speaking role, and a lot of those changes came because of the kinds of auditions I was getting, or lack thereof. Like, there's a part of it that comes out of necessity, and then the other part is that you see people bring character. Like, the character comes to life. It's one thing when you're in a dark room and you're writing something and it's in your head, but then when you see real people start talking and Hayley's personality comes out and Alan's personality comes out, you're like, oh shit, this is a whole different thing. And I literally, I think, went back to my hotel that night, rewrote the whole thing. I flew back to New York and I did callbacks for you two because we liked you two, and I sent them to Greg and Shane, and I said, have them read this new scene, and you guys read that together in a callback, which just, you killed it. And I was like, all right, we're done. Because I had a couple others I was considering, but and it's all about the chemistry too. You know, you have to have.
Yeah. Well, it's so nice to walk into that callback and be like, oh, it's Hayley. Thank God. It's like, okay, this is gonna work.
Yeah, because it's not just you. Even if you're ready and you like it, if you can't work with the person across from you, it's not going to help anything.
And that shows, you know. It's like, I had no idea you two had worked with each other before at that point. I think it was after that fact that I finally started watching Transplanting, and then I don't even know if the episode you two were in was even out yet at that time.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't think so.
But it was obvious that you two had worked together before you, at least, because that comes out.
Not really. Like, Alan, let's be real. Like, before we never had a conversation
met,
or ever talked.
Once. Yeah.
And like the episode that we were in together, we didn't even make eye contact. Like, our characters had no interaction, and like, I knew you existed, and like, we talked, and it was like, hey, well, cool, hi.
But it's also like, oh good, not a weird person.
Yeah, that was the thing. It's like, all right. Yeah.
All about not being weird.
Don't be weird.
Don't be weird.
Yeah, no. I like real people. You know, that's the thing too. If you're not, I mean, like I said, we'll watch some of those tapes. You'll see there's some weirdos. Like,
don't talk shit.
There's always weirdos, you know, and that's the thing. We always run into weirdos, but gotta be real.
So, Jamie, you said you went back and like rewrote the whole script. Did the script change again later? Like, were there changes you were making?
These guys probably got sick of me because I was constantly sending rewrites. I was like, oh, hey, just a few more tweaks. I tweaked up until almost day of.
How do you like sit and decide? Like, because I remember you texting me because I got the first script that you did, and I think I got like the first 3 or 4 that you did.
You saw all of them, yeah.
Well, no, I didn't get the whatever you shot. Like, at some point I was just like, well, I got it, but I didn't read it.
Truth comes out.
Let's be real, Gia.
Hey, I have issues with reading. It takes me a long time. Maybe it's the second language. That's my excuse.
7 pages is really hard to get through.
It's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot. Well, hey, Gio made it.
Have you read a Jamie script? They're wordy. But anyway, like, how do you just sit, like, how do you just say, all right, this is the one?
You don't. You have to stop. Yeah. Somebody has to stop you.
And I say that knowing editing because you still do rewrites in that part too, because certain things change, certain things don't feel right. Something that works right on a page doesn't necessarily translate to the screen as properly. You know, even like, I mean, Tarantino is famous for that because he completely re-edits his movies out of order because he might write them from page 1 to 90, but then page 90 might be the first scene, and then 45 will be next. You know, it changes all the time.
I have some advice for him on The Hateful Eight. He should have made like the second part a little less long.
He should. Just throwing it out there. You know, to me, the thing I love about filmmaking is it's collaborative, you know, and it's like I know a lot of filmmakers who want to control every aspect of the process. They want to write the script their way, which is great. You got to have a voice and you got to have a vision, and that's important. But they want to control every minute aspect of the process, from writing to directing to the editing to everything in between, and that doesn't make a good product, in my opinion. Like, you know, my day job is as a product guy who develops, you know, I work with big teams and we make things, and it may not, my first film that I did, I didn't even direct. I wrote it, and I said, you know what, I wanna experiment with handing this thing over to somebody else and seeing what they do with it. And it was tough. It's tough to step back, but I did. I was on set every day. I hired everybody. I hired the team. I paid for it all. I was on set every day, but I really kept my mouth shut outside of the script. Is the movie that we made the movie I would have made? No. Was it great? Maybe. Was it good? Yeah. But the idea was that it was the culmination of everybody who came to do it. So, casting is part of that process. Like, I write the script, I see actors come, they try out, they give me ideas, you rewrite. You go into, even when we went into rehearsal, we did one day of rehearsal before. I think I even maybe made some changes in my head. But even during shooting, I tried as best as I could to let them play with the characters and play with the scenes. And then, going into the editing room, you got Juan, and he's going to see something that he thinks is in it. And all of that makes the thing. It to me makes a better thing because everybody's voice is involved. So there is no stopping. It's just like somebody at some point, we're pretty close to picture lock. We're doing some last minute tweaks, but I'm going to lock it this weekend. I could probably tweak on it. I think we edited my last movie for 3 months, and I had to tell Paul, the director, like, we got to stop. You got to stop. Like, it has to end. We just have to ship this thing. We have deadlines. We've set. We're gonna come down to Asheville on the 21st. We're gonna show it to the people. So it's like I have a day now. I have to hit it. I've got to.
Wait, the 21st of what? What's happening?
April. We emailed about this.
Oh,
yeah.
421.
21.
Yeah. Can randos see this? Can other people go?
We are. So we got to be careful. We're gonna enter into film festivals, so we have to be careful about the screenings and what we say it is. But it will go up online. We are able to do online, so
even your screening. I'm assuming there's a lot of Asheville talk here, so I'm assuming a lot of Asheville natives will be seeing this.
It'll be public. We're gonna do what we're looking to do is at the Fine Arts Theater. We're putting together a local filmmaker symposium, I guess is the word. But we're gonna invite local filmmakers to come preview things they're working on and talk about it, and then we'll headline it with this. Love You Demon. Bye, Steve.
You upset Steve.
Well,
I'll be there.
I'm out.
I'll be there. So if the movie is not good enough for the audience, I'll be there. So you'll get to meet me.
Yeah.
Wait, you're gonna be there? So you're all fine now?
I am.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, you are the only people that matter. Kidding, Juan. Maybe you're so cool. Come on down.
Yeah, Asheville's a great city. I recommend that you
go. The OJC crew is coming down with me, so it'll be
I should be there, I guess.
Yeah.
You can, yeah.
You should come.
But anyway, that was a
and
long
all of the viewers of the podcast are invited. Asheville, North Carolina.
We will not supplement the tickets from Canada because they're expensive. We will definitely not do the ones from Russia.
Sorry, Russia.
Probably just wait till it's online. Russia.
We'll drop it online day after.
Maybe. So. I don't know if they're allowed to use things on the internet.
Yeah, Jamie, are you going to license to Russia? Otherwise, our listeners are not going to be happy.
Well, if they can get YouTube, yeah, they can see it, so they can see it.
All right.
Go ahead.
Sorry, what'd you say, Gio?
I was going to be like, dead silence.
Oh, no, because I was just waiting for a good time to ask it, because, way earlier there was talk of the lights going out at one point, but you're shooting for, 12-hour days, which sounds tough. I guess, what are you doing for 12 hours, and also, the lights went out, I assume other amusing things were happening, while you're on set. What's that like?
Yeah, well, we would get there, I think you guys were there at least an hour, maybe 2 hours before we would show up, just setting everything up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I forget. You guys had a later call. Yeah, we were there by 5:30 in the morning, and you guys I think weren't even there till 6:30 or 7. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Get in there, get everything, get a cup of coffee, and just sort of go through it. It didn't feel like that long until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And everybody's like, okay, all right, need some more coffee.
Yeah. It moves pretty smooth, though. I mean, I've worked on a lot of shoots, long shoots, and some bad and some good. We tried to keep it moving, and we did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Spirits are up. You know, I've worked on shoots where people just did not get along. That's no fun. We all got along great. But, you know, as far as process is you know, you're shooting a lot of what we call coverage, you know, or the idea is you know, because we're a short film, basically if this was a feature film, it would have been basically one scene in a feature film. And so we broke it up into a series of sequences, and, you know, you shoot that sequence from a number of different angles. And, you know, I had in my head some specific shots that I wanted. Greg, being the DP, obviously had a lot of ideas. But the idea is we have to generate enough footage so that when it goes to Juan...
I'm not pissed off.
Yeah, he's like, I actually have stuff to work with. I can piece and work around this stuff, you know. And so you shoot a page or two of dialogue, you know, which page, for those who don't really know screenwriting, a page of screenwriting equals about a minute of screen time, give or take. And so you shoot them talking for 2 or 3 pages, and then you do that 3 or 4, 5, 6 times to get a good performance, and then you shoot it from 4 different angles, and you do that again, you know. But we did pretty good. They never. I was a little bummed. I was telling Juan a couple weeks ago when I was there editing. I said, you know, I kind of wish they had fucked up more, because I didn't have any good like outtakes or B-roll. Like I really wanted to do the B-roll.
Come on, we totally did. I mean, that's the amazing part, because you reach that point when you're, you know, because it is a short film, you're saying the same lines over and over again. It's like, all right, now we're going to take it from this angle and now this angle. And, you know, Alan and I are just saying the same thing to each other, and you start to feel crazy, and you're like, all right, what can we do this to not just sound like a robot? But, like, surprisingly enough, I feel like it was, like, day 2, there was one scene where I was just, like, forgetting my lines, and I was like, how is this even happening?
You literally forgot your lines, like, twice. That's it. Like, you guys...
Yeah, but for having, like, this amount of lines, it's like, how does that happen this late in the thing? But
those things make the good moments that I can take. Oh, that was intentional, but I can use that to give people a certain, you know, reaction.
And we did.
So,
and we did. We used a take where you forgot your lines. We just cut it right before we got your frustration right before you forgot your lines.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
It worked.
It works out. It works out. It's oh, sorry. Go ahead, Al.
I'm just saying there is a third person in here, a silent partner.
Hank. Oh my God. Hank.
Hank was our therapist.
Yeah.
Was he there like the whole time?
He was there pretty much the whole time.
One day.
Oh,
He was there
One
the
day,
first day.
nothing. Wait, both days.
No, he was only there the first day. Yeah, I couldn't make him just sit there for 2 days. I've known Hank for years. He's the sweetest guy, and he sat there covered in blood and was silent and played dead for a full day. At one point, we had him laying in the blood, I think, for an hour plus, and never complained. The guy never complained. He was so excited.
Well, past never complaining, at one point, like, when he was just on the floor for most of the shoot, I think he asked for, like, a roll of paper towel as a pillow, and we almost had to, like, someone had to poke him because he started snoring.
Well, I felt bad because his lack of complaining. We were shooting a big movement sequence that kind of goes around the room, and we wanted him in the floor just in case the camera happened to catch him. And once we had this big puddle of blood, anybody who goes online to our Facebook page, we have all kinds of photos up behind the scenes. You'll see it. But once he was in the blood, we couldn't get him up because of continuity. It's really challenging. It's surprisingly, like, we had to be very careful about how we planned the shots to make sure that the blood continuity didn't get crazy. And I'd forgotten about him. We were, like, shooting around him, and then it dawned on me that I'm like, Greg, is he even in the shot? He's like, no. I'm like, oh, Hank, you can go. I'm so sorry. And it was like, get Hank up off the floor.
And he had to peel himself up off the floor because it was that corn circuit.
He had coagulated.
He started sick.
I mean, so much just laying there. And the sad thing is, I hope he's not disappointed, but the therapist is really not on screen all that much. But he was phenomenal.
But his presence is felt.
His presence is there.
So, kind of spoilers, just for the listeners. But Alan, did you feel nervous about that one scene where, like, he falls? Because that's like the one where you guys interacted with each other. So if it's the one take that they could have did, were you nervous about that?
Oh, about falling into the blood?
Yeah, falling with him.
Yeah, I was I was less nervous for Hank and myself and more concerned about the costume because it was like, well, if I get blood on this, then I'm gonna have to change my shirt and we're gonna have to stop. I'm gonna have to change my pants. That's the thing I was most. It definitely helped with the character just being so anal about getting any drops of
I
blood.
was about to say, typical Steve. Like, you're just worried about getting a drop of blood on your
I was
clothes.
like, I can't get a drop of blood, and
You
that
guys actually had. Didn't you have 2 outfits?
we did. We
And
bought
you never
2
used
outfits.
them.
We never used them because I was that good.
That's method.
Yeah, we
You sound
bought
like an excellent
doubles.
Steve.
We had doubles of everybody's outfits except for Hayley's. But Hayley was gored up from the beginning, so we knew it was.
This time it's not me.
Yeah, that's my neighborhood.
It's not me. I'm in the safe neighborhood.
We live in Asheville. I'm not sure. What does that sound even?
Never heard
It's,
that.
you know, sometimes
an
drugs,
ambulance.
you know.
We call the sirens background noise. That's what puts us to sleep up here in New York. It's music.
It's like a lullaby.
Yeah.
Well, I always tell you know, you have like your college roommates or whatever, and mine just like still bust my balls about it. He's like, I could fucking like blast whatever in front of you, you wouldn't wake up. I'm like, because I lived in between 2 hospitals, a police station, and a fire department. Like, I'm not even kidding. And
No,
all
because I live
night,
a few blocks from him too, so I had the same thing.
actually, what will wake me up if the room gets like crazy silent, that'll wake me up.
It's like creepy.
Yeah, like if there's just no noise, like if there's no noise at all, I'll feel a disturbance in the force or something. I don't know.
So speaking of disturbing, because I like trying to force segues, having a dead guy just laying in a chair staring at you for 12 hours a day.
Steve, did you know that the guy that made the Segway died falling off a cliff?
I might have heard that on one of 4 episodes of this.
Or every time I mention name segue.
Every time.
Or terrible segues. Or
So
falling
ridiculous.
off a segue.
I love that.
Come on, Steve.
I
Just
saw her
lean
say
into it a little more. What are you saying?
Oh, I love
I should add another
Segue.
S to the name. Eat shit, sleep segue.
Yes, that's
And the S is falling off.
That's my contribution to the
I like
podcast.
That's good. That's the spinoff.
Yeah, that'll be the
No
next
pun intended. Spinoff. There we go.
segues and spin-offs.
I'm here all day, folks.
Alright, I'm good with the dad jokes. Go ahead, Steve.
No, I was curious because we were talking obviously about having him there just kind of lying around, but obviously other people are staring at you. But is it weird doing a scene where there's just a guy in a chair, dead-eye, staring at you for 12 hours? Was that unusual, or were you able to? Do you like not really notice him at a certain point? Because that was what I was thinking of when I watched the film. I was like, that's gonna be so.
I mean, haven't you been in New York long enough, Steve? That's probably just natural.
Subway.
Sorry, go ahead.
It got to the point where I would be looking at Hank, and he'd be staring back at me, and I forgot, talking about being weird, I forgot that was weird. Because I'd be like, oh, this is staring into your eyes for the last 5 minutes. It was very romantic.
There was. There was a connection for sure.
So there's a
That's-
sub-romance.
I mean, there was
Yeah.
a fanboy. I mean, boy, I mean,
B plot.
here in the movie
Steve
is quite
becomes
the
a
fanboy.
necrophiliac.
No, I think that there might be another reason.
Where do
Jen
you go from
killed him.
demon?
Yeah, right?
Jen caught on to something, and that's why she killed the
Yeah.
therapist.
Yeah.
Oh. Not for me. The whole time I'm like, yeah, you have blood, but you don't have hair that's sticking to your neck.
Yeah.
Like, I was too bloodied up. I was just as bloodied as him. Well, I don't know. His wound, I feel like I didn't get
Wound was
weirded
great.
out.
Oh,
His wound was great. I didn't get very weirded out by the blood until, like, I was, staring forward and Blake came in to fix his wound and, like, had this little foam brush and was like sticking it into the neck wound, but like really got in there, and then it like
Like a
opened
latex
up more.
hole.
Yeah, it was. I was like, whoa! I saw too much. And then I
great.
just, since then didn't look back at it.
You know
Yeah,
you have.
stared
You
at
know
it.
you've done a good job when the real life is just as gross than on camera.
I still can't think about that because it was an open neck wound. Well, it was a bite wound, and he would stick his finger in there, and you could see the latex.
Like wiggling it around. It looked real. It was gross. I remember at one point I was standing there. I had my back turned to you guys, and I was talking to Brett, our AD, or Greg won, I don't remember, and all of a sudden I heard everybody go, "Oh!" And I spun around because that's what he was doing. He was like wedging sponge up underneath the wound and then squirting blood in there. And I just see this like, it looked like he was just digging his finger into his open neck wound, and it was really gross. It was great. It was the best.
Tasty.
It made me. You have no idea how happy that moment made me. So, it was so good. And then that's hard, when you write these things. It's like. We were a low budget little flick, short film, and it's like you have in your mind how you want these things to look, and you can't always afford the best, but I mean to be able to get him, it was and just to see it,
that
like,
budget.
Yeah, it really made it, and to me that's where the real comedy is. To me, it's like a lot of the comedy is the sight gags, the juxtaposition of, like we talked about, a little earlier, of there's so many great moments, I think, and I've shown it to a few people outside of the crew and the cast, and they always giggle at the there's little arguments about walking your shoes through the house with your shoes on while she's sitting there covered in blood, and
you got something in your teeth.
Yeah, shrink in your teeth. That's my favorite line.
Yeah.
And I think
can you help me get it?
Yeah, that actually, there's a good story that came from the casting, that came from their callback, that wasn't in the original script, and when Hayley and Alan did their callback, he did this little bit about having like chunk of something in her hair or something, and I was like, that's fucking brilliant. Like I am stealing that, I am putting it in there. So that worked its way.
Oh shit, I didn't even realize.
That was you guys, that was all you. So I should put that in the post credits.
For Harrison Ford moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Writing, Jamie, special scene, ad-lib by.
Yeah, all the good stuff, Hayley and Alan.
Yeah. Dead therapist lying on floor, Jamie.
So, it was there was a lot, there's a lot. I remember I literally, and I don't have nightmares, but I literally had a nightmare the night before our first day of shooting of everything that could possibly go wrong, because you put a lot of time and energy and money into a project, and then you show up and you're like, well, this can either be 2 days of really awesome, or it can be an absolute fucking disaster. And luckily it turned out to be really awesome. And what a lot of people don't realize is that was my first time ever directing a movie, so it was I had a lot of nerves going in about, like, I don't know what the fuck I'm even doing. So it was a fun weekend though. It worked out.
Man, I wish I could see that nightmare. What were we all doing? Just like fucking up all over across the board? Just
I wish I could remember it all. There was one point I do remember where I had a car, like I had these cars that were brought in, and somebody was trying to steal the cars. And then the guy who came to deliver the cars had told me I could have the cars for $200, but then he was like, "You owe me $5,000, and if you don't give it to me now, I'm going to take the cars away." And it was just like this snowball effect of things that had nothing to do with the
cost
actual
effective
movie.
to get like a van or something. What are you getting cars for?
I know. Didn't even have cars. I woke up and I was just like, I don't even know. We don't even have cars in this movie. It's good. We didn't even get our location until the 11th hour. I was, trying to find a therapist office that would let us throw blood all over the place. That was, forget it. I was like, I knew better.
By the way, like, where were you actually shooting?
The Black Mountain Community Center. Black Mountain's a little town just east of Asheville. Is it east? I get my directions mixed up. It's just east of Asheville, about 20 minutes.
There was a Girl Scout meeting.
I forgot about that. Yeah, there was a Girl Scout meeting, and then the second day of shooting, there was an AA meeting, and we walked outside, and they were also taking a break at the same time, and I thought it was so amusing, and this guy was like, "Hey, could we take a picture together?" And I was like posing for pictures with this whole circle of AA people, that it was just like, yeah.
That's good. Then there was some preschool thing. Yeah, it was a community center, and I had been struggling to find a place. Like, where are we going to shoot this thing? Because we knew we wanted the blood, but if we went to somebody's house or office, we have to be careful about this blood getting on furniture. So we had this whole plan. Like, I was going to go out and buy like laminate flooring to put down a false floor that we would shoot on, and it was going to get quite expensive. And then Brett, our AD, whose wife I believe works at the community center, was like, hey, you should check this place out. And he sent me photos, and I was like, no, Brett, come on, this is not a therapist's office. And I was very dismissive, arrogant ass me. I was like, come on, Brett, you can do better than that. And then my producer Shane was like, you should reconsider this, because it's, you've got institutionalized like linoleum floors, you've got all these furnishings, like easy wipe down, easy clean, space, great colors. And I was like, oh shit, you see, this is why you hire people that are smarter than you, because they tell you how to do it. And so that was another example. We rewrote things into the script to make it more, the joke was that this was just hack therapist who couldn't even afford his own office. He just works out of this shitty community center.
Yeah. So. Part of the backstory that goes into the feature film?
No, the feature film takes place. So the feature film is the story of them moving in together. So the feature film is literally, it opens with them moving into this house together, and they are, is this crazy? We've only been dating they literally have like only been dating a couple months, but it's this like hot and heavy thing. And she doesn't know. She knows about her. She knows about what she is, like her family, but she doesn't tell him. He doesn't know. And she thinks it's going to pass her over. She's told by her family that, yeah, your grandfather and your dad have this demon thing going on, but it skips generations. It's no big deal. You're only like a 10th or whatever. And unfortunately, it doesn't. And she just goes like monster, and she just murders the whole neighborhood. And he is just convinced that he's going to keep it together. I think part of it is too is like it's like you get into a place too, I think, when you're in a relationship like that you don't want to admit that you made a mistake. You're like, I'm gonna see this through, and whether it kills me or not. And so the whole feature film is that murder spree, and it's
Is
great.
it gonna keep the comedic tone of the short film?
No.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that's a lot. What was that?
It's a serious drama about relationship troubles.
I don't know. You can turn it into like a real horror film. I don't know.
Just 2 hours of heartbreak.
It's a musical.
I need your attitude, right?
Yeah.
Listen,
No,
it's not going to be a rom-com. I want no part in it. Rom-coms all the way.
Got the public declaration of love at the end. It's got all of the tropes.
Oh,
yeah. No, it's it's dark. It's funny. I mean, I've written about half of it. It's gory as hell. I mean, I like gory where you don't expect it, but it's got to be silly, But so she does some pretty messed up things. She gets a lot more monstery. So I am always imagine that the Jenny that we see in the short is her after she's finally controlled it. Like she's come to this place where she can kind of control, but in the movie she goes like full-bore monster. Like it's quite frightening, and lots of dismemberment. He says it in the film, and but it's sweet too,
Man, if I'm allowed to just say the spoiler.
Say it. Spoiler.
I think we agreed to go ahead and spoiler. Yeah.
I ate a dog, and honestly, I think I started to cry when I read that line. I was like,
oh, Augie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stone face killing people. That's no thing. But the dog, that's some serious
The dog was
shit,
annoying.
Jamie.
So what you don't know is the dog's annoying, and in the feature,
I think you had to talk me through this. I remember going to be like, the dog, really?
And he's like, the dog murdered
nah, the
people.
shitty dog. Yeah, it was
Dog
Killed
was
his own
a
family.
dog.
It burned the church. Like, it's a bad dog.
It's one of those really yippy dogs that's constantly humping your leg. It's one of those, and you had a bad day, and you're like, fuck it, and you just eat it. Gio will tell you, and Berea, who's a friend of ours who's not on this, who's one of our co-writers on the animated project. Apparently I have a thing. I love animals and I love dogs, but I have 2 scripts now that have dogs getting eaten.
I'm begging him to get rid of it. He's like, no, it sets the tone, man. Come on, what are you talking about? No, the poor dog. It's like
dog. Ugh.
Yeah, I know. Anyway.
I think you just gotta like let us know about this event that happened to you. That get it out.
I mean, have you had shitty dogs your entire life?
No,
You
I love
really
dogs.
secretly hate the dogs?
Well, you were
No, it
talking
gets
shit about your dog when we met him in Asheville. Your
Oh, Igby.
husky.
My dog Igby. Yeah, my ex-wife has my dog. She still has them. They're old now. They're 14 years old. But one of them is Igby. He's a husky German Shepherd. He's crazy. Like, I'm pretty sure he's got some screws loose in his head. He's highly neurotic. But no, I loved him. I love that dog. But yeah, there's days where I was like, I got a dog.
Yeah, I could probably eat that dog if I had to.
You're hangry. That's what it was. It's the
Hangry.
thing.
That was another good line. Yeah, that was the hangry stuff. Hangry.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Mhm.
So the feature's obviously just being worked on, and this is totally hypothetical, but I'm curious, Alan and Hayley, if you do you picture the relationship working? We obviously just get like a short view into it, but like Jamie said, is it that Steve's just kind of like hanging on, or like is there? Do you feel like your characters really are in love and could make it work, or is Steve just kind of desperately holding on to something?
I mean, who should go first? I feel like this, I don't know, it might be tricky.
I'll have to think about it. Go for it.
All right, I'll go first. Honestly, I think they will have a very interesting and engaging relationship, but
She's
I don't
giving
know.
it a thumb.
I
Give it
feel
a
like
down.
I don't know if they would really work out. It seems like there's some fundamental issues going on there.
Not the demon issue, but the relationship issues.
Well, yeah. But to that, I mean, the fact that you could work through these things, there's something to it, So if two people could just drive, even if someone is a demon and maybe they do eat your dog, like you just figure it out. You work through it because you find something you're connected to or on.
Yeah. Well, obviously there's a lot of passion there. They care enough to fight about these things.
Yeah. Caring to fight is a big thing.
Yeah. But it's sort of, at least for the moment, the problems are sort of sorted out. Somewhat. I don't know.
It's open to interpretation.
I honestly think,
that's-
watching the film, I feel like Jenny and Steve will get married, and it'll have one of those like post-credit scenes where Steve gets eaten.
Oh, you think she'll kill him? Oh.
You may now eat the
Trademarking that.
Bro, nice.
That's funny because I pictured it, but like with the text across the screen, like Jenny would leave her shoes at the door. Steve promised not to get another dog. They managed to make it through.
Or you could do like some. I just saw the season ending of Mad Men, so you could do like this sort of scene where like it looks like she's about to kill him, and you end it with that like the sound that you started the movie with, just her chomping down. It's open to interpretation. We don't know what she's eating.
Yeah, that's great. No, that's great.
I think
I think you need to add a writer to my credits over here.
I think quarter demon babies, though. I mean, that would be an interesting.
Yeah. How about that?
That's the
Just like
sequel.
just enough spunk, like don't push them too far.
They've got really blue eyes.
Yeah, that's how it cuts out the babies in the crib, and then it opens eyes in blue. And then they're like, coming next summer. How to Love Your Demon 2. Demon Spawn.
Demon Spawn, that would be amazing.
How to Love Your Demon.
I can be a writer too,
Demons.
Gio.
How to
That
Love Your
would be
Demons,
amazing.
not Demon 2.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer to that. I'm not gonna. I haven't.
No, of
really
course.
to them.
Well, I feel like any way Jamie writes it, we could probably rock it.
Probably true.
Good.
I bet.
I have plans. I have plans for those two. It's we'll see.
So speaking of plans, what does the future hold for everyone? We talked about the premiere on the 21st in Asheville.
It's not a premiere. It's not a premiere. It's
Not a premiere.
work in progress screening.
Work in progress screening.
Right.
So I'll let you guide it through, and then Hayley and Alan, what are you guys working on? What's the future hold for you too as well? So
Start with them.
go for it. Yeah.
I'm diving back into theater. I'm doing a version of Hamlet, bringing up Hamlet again. It's like a remix of Hamlet, so it's the story and all the original text, but it's sort of taken the end and put it back at the beginning, and then told through Horatio's point of view, with like music and interpretive dance in there. So that'll be fun, and it's better than a 4-hour. I'm not dancing. I'm not doing any dancing.
Are you playing Hayley playing Hamlet?
Nice, yes.
I'm playing Alan playing Horatio, but I would have
You're
loved to see that
Horatio?
Haley Hamlet. That
Cool.
would have been
So it's
really
all
cool.
through your point of view.
Yeah. It'll be cool. And then I'm doing Death of a Salesman after that, and so I'm just getting some classics in.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was never exposed to much theater, obviously because I never lived in a place that had any worth of shit. I mean, Asheville did, but I just never got into it there. But since moving here, I was like, I should go to see theater. But so I a couple times a year I've been trying to go. But I just saw Blackbird with Michelle Williams and Jeff Daniels.
Man, I love Michelle Williams. I bet it was awesome.
My God, I mean, it's amazing. You guys need to come to New York and go watch some of these, because it is, now it's like, damn it, I want to write a play. I have no idea how to even do it, but it's like, damn it, I want to get into that because it was phenomenal. So hats off to you for doing that.
Yeah, I never really got like, it's crazy because I told you all that I did Hamlet, but that was actually the only thing I ever did in theater. And like, since then, I don't know, it's like I loved it, but I, for some reason, never went back to it or felt that draw. And I don't know, I feel like for the most part, I'm still just trying to find my feet. I kind of have no idea what I'm doing, but everything I do seems to open a new door to the next thing I want to do. So it feels like a good process. But I just wrapped up this like pretty super emo video, but it was this poem that I wrote back in 2002 that like really, yeah, no, I know, dude, just going all for it. But we needed a video and put a really cool score to it, and just it was cool collaborating with another person because especially with poetry, it could feel so close to you, and my go-to was like, just be really cryptic, like, oh, look at these words, like, I bet you wonder what I mean. But like, to like actually have to explain it to another person and collaborate with them, like different things come forth, and it ended up being super cool, and we just wrapped it and got someone to score it. So I have like a list of festivals to submit it to, and I'm gonna go that route. But it just feels cool to like bring that to completion because it didn't really feel complete as a poem, and it was the first time I like produced a thing that I wrote, and so I've kind of been feeling a little bit more of that and taking a bit of a step back and trying to learn some more behind the camera stuff. I've been learning some video editing and just getting back to writing because that was my thing to start with, and just like, I don't know, looking at what I had and trying to recycle it in ways or start over. But I'm also directing a music video next week, so it's cool to like, yeah, just like take a story, and I don't know, it's cool to be on the other side of the camera.
It's awesome. And then you got Transplanting season 2. When do you guys start shooting?
Yeah, and Transplanting will be starting soon too. It's just cool to like feel, I don't know, I just feel like in a really different place. Before it felt like once I decided that I wanted to do acting, it, the mode that people to tell you to go through is like, say yes to everything, like take that gig and that gig. But I tried doing that and like it didn't really work for me. Like I felt shitty, like it just made me feel worse about myself. And so when I started to say no to these things that I wasn't really into, I don't know, it just feels like it's going in the right direction. I have no fucking idea what I'm going to end up doing, but it feels good. I'm happy.
Jamie, what's coming up from you?
Well, we're in pre-production on Yo JC, which is our animated series we're trying to launch.
Are you all, everyone besides me and Alan, are you all working on that?
No, it's actually just me and Jamie.
Yeah, and then Bria.
No, Steve's not part of it.
Not yet. He's gonna be our agent. He's gonna be our agent.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was the brainchild. I think Gio and Bria, who's a friend of ours, we all used to work with each other at a startup here in New York when I first moved here. And a couple Christmases ago, we all went to Ireland. And
well, you should tell the Ireland story. Just a quick little story. How do we end up going to Ireland together?
So I think it was a summer in a couple years back, and we had gone to a coworkers going away party. And it was a shitty startup that was failing very rapidly. And the three of us, Bria and I, had been friends and going out, and we brought Gio into the folds, and then we all went out to drink, and we got really drunk. And we started talking about how we hate. Yeah, we were like, I hate Christmas. Bria hates Christmas. We don't really do the Christmas thing.
I love
Gio likes Christmas, but he's just a fun guy in his game. So we're like, we should go do something. And I think Bria was like, I'm going to go to Iran by myself.
Yeah.
And we were like, you're fucking nuts. She is 6 foot tall. No, she's not. She's my height. She's like 5'11", red hair. She's a beautiful woman.
She's not 6 foot. She's 5'11".
She's not 6 foot. Well, she wears heels. That's why I say she's 6 foot, because she always wears really tall heels.
I mean, she's a woman, period, going to Iran and not
wear the
whole thing.
With red hair.
Yeah,
you're going to stick it out.
Yeah. So we were like, you cannot go to Iran by yourself. We should all go somewhere together. So we
then I was like, you should pick. Well, I was like, you should pick another I country, like Italy or Ireland. I've always wanted to go to Ireland.
Yeah, we were very drunk, and we were friends, but we weren't like friends who do these kinds of things.
It was so funny because like Bria and I literally sat behind each other for 6 months, and the extent of our conversations is that Bria would bring her dog Betty, that I'm taking care of right now, and Betty's like this like dog that just like doesn't care, and she's like all over the world. So I would play with her. A dog
that deserves to be eaten. Let's be real.
Well, Betty sometimes.
Don't do it, yeah. Cover her ears.
Bria would literally like kill me.
I'm sorry, dude. If anyone ever tried to eat my dog, Bria, disclaimer, I would fucking kill that. I'm not gonna eat your dog.
We won't. Let's not get into.
We'll cut that one out.
Betty Bria relationship.
Well, Jamie's gonna need a dog in the feature. That sounds like a dog that could play it.
Yeah.
It's Betty's cameo.
Anyway.
Well, Betty has
got really
cameo in Yo JC, but so yeah, we never talked to each other, and then like Jamie and I kind of worked with each other, but we went to this thing. It was like some coworkers like going away party, and I was like, guys, we should go get food, and that's like we just ended up in this conversation.
Ended up in Ireland.
It was one of those where we walked. I remember walking away from it thinking, okay, we agreed to that. I think that'll never happen.
Never fucking happen.
3 weeks later, or maybe a couple months later, we all gathered in a Starbucks and we bought our tickets, and so we spent Christmas together in Ireland. And it was amazing.
It was exactly 3 weeks. Like we got like the deal, and then like Bria was the driving force behind it. She like forced us to go to Starbucks, and then we just like were like, all right, fuck it, let's buy it. And I just wanted everyone to get Chase Sapphire cars. Which, by the way, if anyone wants Chase Sapphire,
all right, they're not.
Stop it.
Wait a minute.
All right,
Gio.
so it was fun. So I think in some haze of whiskey, because we drank lots of whiskey and lots of Guinness, somebody threw out this idea about Jesus and his awkward teenager. So getting back to it, Yo JC's animated comedy. It's in the vein of a Rick and Morty or a Bob's Burgers or even Family Guy, but it tells the story of Jesus Christ as an awkward teenager and his friends, and it's very. Oh
no, Jamie, we lost you.
No.
That was.
He's
Got
still there.
smited down.
So we're
He's not allowed to talk about the movie. It's a secret.
Do what?
You cut out like right as you were about to spoil it. God said no.
God said no.
We heard nothing. So what is it?
The god of the internet, Al Gore, was just like, stop.
Stop. No, it's just Jesus being an awkward teenager. It's his origin story. Talking about superhero origin stories. So it's It's think of every 90s teenage comedy, and like the pilot that we're shooting is basically we're ripping the party scene from Can't Hardly Wait, but it's set in high school in Bethlehem with Jesus and his friends, and he's trying to figure out his powers, his miracles, and he's coping with being one of many illegitimate sons of God, and the competition and the pressure that entails. And
man, John the Baptist is such a
John the Baptist is a he's a douchebag.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. We think it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's really funny because it's like, through these conversations, Jamie, Bria, and I realized that we both come from this weird, like, ex-religious past, and we were just like, it's funny, like, they never talk, like, the Bible kind of it starts at 1, Jesus being a baby, and then skips at 30. So it's like, we can just fucking do whatever we want with this, and I can't believe no one's ever done it, so... we'll hold on to this. Yeah.
Well,
We'll
but
see.
in that vein, so like getting kind of festive, I recently brought this up, so I'm also have like that ex-Catholic background, and I was thinking like, man, a YoJC Valentine's Day special would be really funny. And I brought up to someone, like I thought about it, I was like, wait a minute. My understanding of Saint Valentine was that he wrote love letters to Jesus. And I said that out loud, and everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But, like, did anyone else get that understanding? What was the deal with St. Valentine?
Valentine was in love with Jesus?
No.
That's great.
I thought Valentine's Day was straight up Hallmark.
Well, guess what? We are not going to be very historically accurate, so we can tell that story.
We can go ahead and tell. Yeah, let us know.
So we're working on the pilot. It's hard work and it's expensive. So we've got it written. We're casting for it right now. We have an animation studio lined up. We are going to get some rough, what they're called animatics. So it's basically a rough animated storyboard. We're going to get that up. We're going to have to do some crowdfunding. So as soon as we get those, get it counted, we're gonna throw up a Patreon page. We got to raise about $15,000, so we're going to call on fans and friends and family to donate, and we hope to get the pilot done. It's going to be about 5 minutes. I'm lucky enough, I work in the entertainment industry, so I have some pretty good connections, so I'm hoping to shop it around to some networks. If that doesn't work, we're going to try to make a go at making it ourselves, a full web series. So that's that. We're pre-production now. I'm obviously finishing up post-production on this movie, and then I have 2 pilots that I'm rewriting right now, like normal TV pilots, which I'm trying to shop. And then I want to write How to Love Your Demon. I'm gonna try to raise the money to I think shoot it as a feature, but break it up as a web series. So it'll kind of be a hybrid between a series and a feature. And I think I'm going to make a go at that. So probably look for around the fall. Well, probably when I launch it, I'm going to start a crowdfunding campaign to raise the money to make that. I'll probably target to try to shoot that early next year. I'm thinking, but who knows? Got to write it. So that's me. A lot of stuff.
Cool. So it looks like we're coming to a close, and thank you guys so much for coming onto the pod.
Man, I was just
really
about to ask,
it.
what do you guys do? Like, where's the part where we pass the ball to you?
What do we do?
I guess I have to listen to the podcast.
Actually, I guess me and Steve have been throwing this around, and I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but now that we have the YouTube...
I want it to happen. I do want this to happen. I'm in. Like, your Ireland, is it going to happen? I'm in. I'm fully in.
So we're gonna turn this into like a few more like different like small video things that we do with the podcast. Like I shot a video with Steve where he's just eating ice cream, and I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just talking shit to you. I'm talking shit to you the whole time.
Yeah, it's an 8 different ice cream flavors stacked on a cone in Japan. It's like wow. I don't know what you would describe it as, but yeah, you were talking shit to me while I'm getting brain freeze.
In Japan.
Yeah, in Japan.
So
I'd watch that.
And
Steve and I are in. We're hoping that maybe some of the other podcast hosts hop in too, but we're just gonna do little videos like around town. We have like little ideas of shit. Me and Steve get into arguments all the time, so like
every episode.
Yeah, so it's like
wait, you haven't argued this one. This is like it's an amazing.
I have guests. Yeah, we have guests.
And also,
are there any touchy subjects I could bring up?
Oh,
Yeah.
anything
Any
really.
rooms to
There's-
post?
Everything is a touchy subject. Even them arguing about touchy subjects is a touchy subject.
We don't argue. We just have differing opinions. Leave it
You
alone.
get loud. You get loud.
I do. I'm joking.
But yeah, so we had this idea of just like doing these. Everyone has like these reaction videos to stuff, and we were like, we should like do them. But we never, whenever we like react to anything on the podcast, we don't actually talk about the thing. We get into like this argument. So it'd be funny if we like do them, and then like at the very end, we're like, oh, it was good. Or, oh, it was bad.
Like Deadpool. We're like, so what'd you think of Deadpool? Bring up one thing, go on an off topic, get in a fight for 5 minutes, and then at the end just vote on whether we liked it or not.
That was good.
Yeah. So we'll do little things like that. But I mean, we have the podcast, so you guys, our listeners, our 5 Canadians, can tune into us every week, and you guys too, if you want to check us out.
Yeah.
It's at esspod.com, which is also our Tumblr. You can check us out on Twitter, ESS Podcast, and our YouTube channel, where this video and all others can be found as of episode 103, is ESS Podcast as well.
They have 103
103.
episodes.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we crossed
every
100 a few
No,
weeks
no, no.
ago.
This is Steve. This is like 107 or 108.
There's the argument. Shit.
Right,
Here we go.
right. I'm just saying. No, I'm saying as of episode 103. That's when we started posting on YouTube.
Oh, sorry. Yes,
Yeah. See, we would fight about that for 10 minutes, but
This is where we all just drift away.
Do you guys have
I just throw
Twitters,
fuel to the fire to make it
Facebooks,
funnier.
websites that you guys want people to check out, or Facebooks or websites for any of the stuff that you're doing? Like, pimp your shit out.
Besides Alan,
Twin
pimp your shit.
Plants.com.
I don't have shit. Oh, tweet at me. Tweet at me at Alan T Law.
Sweet.
That's all I want. I just want tweets.
Tweet at me, bro.
Alan, I will tweet to you.
Please.
Yes, this podcast.
He's so desperate. Please tweet at me.
No one ever
Yes,
tweets at me anymore.
For sure do it.
Yeah, I'm about to tweet at you every day. Yeah, I don't know. I just bought out a website that is my name, so HayleyHeninger.com.
Nice.
Sweet.
Put it in the show notes.
We'll put that in the show notes.
Yep.
Well, good.
yeah.
Now I'll go update my website.
Yeah, I'm on there right now, and it just says page not found.
Yo, shut up.
Just kidding.
I see how you get into
See
fights
why
on
I
the
argue with him
podcast.
all the fucking
Yeah,
time?
I'm with you, Gio. I'm with you.
Yeah, everybody should go to your 2 Canadians and your 5 Russians should go to
5 Canadians, 2 Russians. Just get it straight.
Shit. Right. Most of the How to Love Your Demon stuff is on Facebook. We figured that was the way to go. So facebook.com/loveyourdemon. And then holierthanYou.com is our production company that we're firing up. So check it out. We got
I
fun
feel
stuff.
like that just deserves a round of applause, that name. Again, I know I already told you, Jamie, but
That's
Holier
great.
Than You is just, man, it's brilliant.
It was. I was surprised it wasn't taken, but it wasn't. So there it is. I thought it was fun.
So good.
We'll see.
And does YoJC have a website? Or not?
YoJC show. Huh?
It's on the Holier Than You.
It is on there.
Yeah, but I
most
think
of
it
the
has
stuff
its
there.
own URL.
We have its own. It has its own landing page. There's nothing there yet, but it's yojcshow.com. But somebody we got to get on top of this whole social media strategy. It's
Yeah.
it's a
We gotta hire someone, and by hire someone, I mean we need to find a college student that wants to do stuff for free.
It's a full-time job. It's tough. It's a tough gig. But I don't know. We've gotten a good following on Facebook with How to Love Your Demons. So
I mean,
we're almost to 800. Like we're like 10 shy of 800. I want to cross over 1,000 before we throw the movie up in April. So we got to make that happen.
So
I feel
follow us, like
Follow
us,
us.
whatever the word is.
Canadians, Russians. Follow us.
Teenagers
Tell
of
your
all kind.
Americans too, please. Sweet. So, all right, that was our bonus episode of ESS Pod. Looking forward to checking out the movie. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming
Thanks,
on.
everyone.